Welcome to Vision to Venture. I'm Eddie, and I'm here to uncover the realities of scaling and building a tech startup. Each week, I speak to leaders within the tech space with their insights and advice on how to found, fund, and frame a tech startup. So make sure to follow and subscribe to never miss an episode. Hello and welcome to another episode of Vision to Venture. Today, we're sitting down with Harsha Pokkalla, the head of machine learning at PathAI. Harsha's journey from an individual contributor to leading a team of 60 talented individuals, as well as contributing to launching many AI products over the years, each aimed at transforming the landscape of healthcare, is one you won't want to miss. Hello, Harsha. How are we doing today? Thanks for joining.
Hey, Eddie. Yeah, thanks for the invite. Super excited to be here and talk about some of the things.
Likewise, I've been looking forward to hearing all about it. I just wanted to first start off the podcast with asking you just to share with us your journey from studying computer vision at the university you went to and to becoming the head of machine learning at PathAI.
Yeah, to give a brief background, I did my undergrad in India and did my master's in Carnegie Mellon, focusing on computer vision in 2015 and 2016. And immediately after that, I was looking for roles in the healthcare space because I was passionate about that area and tried to look out for the emerging opportunities at the time. And I joined PathAI as the fourth employee of the company when it was a very small startup. And in the last 7 years at PathAI, thanks to a lot of growth opportunities provided by PathAI for me, I have grown from an ML engineer working on small ML projects to leading small teams, building multiple AI products, to leading the entire ML team at PathAI for the last 6 months. So currently, my team's focus has been developing cutting edge AI and ML solutions for pathology to better improve patient outcomes and treatment.
Okay, and so just for those that are listening that might not be too familiar, obviously you've briefly explained what you guys do, but how is it that AI and ML solutions are impacting pathology and healthcare?
Yeah, it's a great question. Let me walk you through some examples here. At PathAI, at high level, we build the AI-powered technology for histopathology, right, to transform how diseases are being diagnosed and treated. So our products analyze this tissue at like microscopic level and offer accurate diagnostics and insights to assist pathologists and doctors. And even before jumping into explaining it, let me explain what histopathology is.
Yeah, please do.
Here, histopathology refers to like microscopic study of disease
Yeah.
affecting tissue and cells in the human body. And
Okay.
this is typically done by a pathologist using a microscope, where a piece of tissue from the human body is taken, and then pathologists take the tissue and use the microscope to look at how the cells are, how the tissue is structured, and try to diagnose what's happening. And if there is any disease, they try to quantify the disease and severity of the disease. And today, in the digital era, this piece of tissue is scanned using high resolution scanners to be able to visualize these microscopic cells and tissue in image form. And these images have like millions of cells. To draw a simple parallel to this one, if you think about Google Maps as an example and consider each patient image as Google Maps, where you are zooming in, zooming out to look at like countries, states, cities, streets, and like buildings, all of that. And similarly, if you take this patient's tissue, which is super high resolution image, you can zoom in slowly piece by piece to look at like tissue structures and the cells, cancer cells, immune cells, how are they interacting, how are they flowing between each other, and so on. So our goal is, if you take this Google Maps image, you want to segment out and identify every building, every car, every street, every city and state. So here we are trying to identify and classify these different types of cells, cancer cells, immune cells, and what are those properties, how are they interacting, so that we can generate those features and insights and then relate with the patient outcomes, like whether this patient has responded to a particular treatment or not, and then understand what properties that exist in this tissue that might correlate with the patient outcomes. And on top of that, these models that we build also assist pathologists to do the accurate diagnosis and consistent diagnosis. given there is subjectivity in the space. I hope this gives like a good example and compare with a good example of like Google Maps in how to think about this problem.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely makes a lot more sense now that you've broken it down like that. Um, and so you've been instrumental in the launch of many AI products at PathAI. Could you highlight some of these products and their significance in the field of healthcare?
Yeah, it's a great question. And we at PathAI, we have worked on multiple products over the years. I'll bring one of the first impactful products that I've been part of, which is still like a very important milestone for me and PathAI in terms of how we thought about developing these products. So this is about like AIM NASH research product that we built in 2020. It is as simple as an AI assistant tool for measuring a liver disease called NASH in clinical trials to able to score patients in a more consistent and reliable fashion. So NASH is referred to non-alcoholic steatohepatitic disease. It is a very common chronic liver disease, and it's expected to grow very significantly over the years, given the rise in obesity generally across the world population. So in this disease, severity is measured by pathologists reading this image or pathology tissue taken from the patient's liver, and there is a scoring system that's defined by pathologists to do it. And all of the biology and like how the disease are formed is very continuous, and pathologists to their best came up with a scoring system to able to put this disease into different grades and severity. However, this is very subjective, and it's hard to follow and be consistent in follow applying those principles and scoring system reliably over course of time and to all the patients. So given there is high inter-rater variability between pathologists, we built this model based on a lot of data annotated by many expert liver pathologists with a lot of expertise in the space, and then trained a large deep learning model on top of it to able to score the images that can be used to assist when pathologists are scoring the patient tissue in those clinical trials so that they can run very smoothly and reliably and so on. So right now, this model has been used widely in a lot of retrospective studies, in ability to understand issues with consistency and reliability of the scoring on the patients that have huge impact on the success of clinical trials, given the scoring system is used as a primary endpoint to define success or a failure for a clinical trial. So that's one of our earliest products where it has like a lot of impact. And given the success of this product, we are able to build a follow-up on this product, which goes beyond this binary scoring system and generate a lot more rich features and insights from the patient tissue that you can use it to understand the disease a lot more and explore new biomarkers that previously hasn't been thought through or explored.
Okay, and when it comes to obviously launching products, especially launching multiple products, it must require an incredible amount of planning and like perfect execution. Could you walk us through like the typical process involved in bringing a new AI or ML product to market at PathAI?
Yeah, to build AI products in this space, it is very challenging and it requires multidisciplinary skill sets in terms of you want to have experts coming from multidisciplinary fields, right? In terms of like state of art people in the AI field and pathologists who understand that this is a lot better. And we want to have AI product managers who can think about how to come up with a product idea and whether it is viable for the business or not. And also working with biomedical data scientists to understand, does it have a clinical utility that would help patients and pathologists and all the stakeholders equally. So at PathAI, we have went through many cycles of iterations in figuring out a process for ourselves. And today we have a version of a product lifecycle process where we start from product discovery, where we do the ideation and conception of a concept and do like a market requirements, market review of whether it has a utility, is it viable for our business, and then go into like product requirements, where can we convert this market problem and the technical idea into a requirements that we can articulate with a concrete goal that we can do a feasibility to see if it is possible to build such a product or not, and then go into the product development phase where we continues to iterate on the models to improve. And then we go for launch, and then we continue to maintain and monitor these models. So here, for all of this process, we depend on AI product managers to lead this process, and we heavily collaborate from machine learning team in every stage of this life cycle and understand the risks of where something can fail and how do we want to invest more into it or invest less into it and understand that. To quickly touch on developing AI products in healthcare is also very tricky affair in terms of you need to meet many different requirements across regulatory, quality, clinical, model performance, and the patient outcomes and the pathologists who are using it. So developing these AI models require lots of data, well-curated data, high-quality data, and with a lot of ground truth labels where there is inherent subjectivity in the ground truth. So you want to depend on many pathologists, many ground truth labels to be able to train models to build like a high-quality model and test this model. So how we develop is we have pathologists in the loop when we are trying to develop these models. So we train a model on the data set and we iteratively keep on improving and showing it to pathologists to get feedback so that we identify all the failures of the model and collect more data and continuously improve it to get to a level that we are happy with before giving it to pathologists in the real world or the patients in the real world. So, so we have this life cycle process and try to go through this process and try to improve the models very iteratively, de-risking different challenges we might face through the process.
And so would you say that they are the sort of metrics or indicators that you consider most important when evaluating the impact of a successful product launch?
Yeah, it's a great question. So there are many lead metrics and lag metrics that you can think of.
Yeah.
And first, when we are doing this market requirements and product requirements, we understand how big of a problem this is and what is the current state of or status quo in trying to diagnose or trying to measure something like that. And we use that as a minimum baseline. And then we try to think about how can we come up with a metric that can define the performance of the model that make it clear utility for the pathologist to use. So we come up with these lead metrics where we try to define the quality of the model to be able to define how good it is. That de-risks before launching that where we are in terms of the quality of the model. And other thing is these are all static numbers that we are playing with the data set inside. So it can only take you so far, right? So what we do is we continue to make this model available to pathologists with our partnership or with our network so that they can review model and give us feedback. And this also helps us. You can imagine it's kind of like a beta testing where you do the beta testing with a lot of users so that you understand how good the model is before releasing it broadly. So we have this ramp up way of releasing the model so that you are learning a ton and you are iteratively improving it and you are making it most impactful for the customer and so on. So that helps us a lot. And however, even once launched, we're always listening to the feedback from pathologists, from our customers to understand where the gaps are. And we'll always have the gaps in terms of different edge case scenarios and the long tail. And we take their feedback in and iteratively go on to building next version of the product to reduce that failures and edge case scenarios.
Okay. And so looking back at various product launches that you've been involved in, what would you say are the lessons that you have learned that have helped refine your approach to future launches?
Yeah, it's a great question. Like looking back, like last 4 or 5 years, it's been a huge learning curve for sure.
Oh, I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah, in contrast to like software products, right? AI products brings a lot more uncertainty by itself because it's all probabilistic in nature. So it's hard to understand like how good the performance can be and and it's a very continuous more than like a binary where it is working or not. So it's more continuous. So it's hard to define success and how to define the utility of the product and so on. So here, major learning that I would talk about is the ability to focus on iteratively improving everything that is required to build these models. Like for these models to be very high quality, you need to have a high quality data set, high quality ground truth, high quality of the models. And so it's a very iterative process. So you have to rely on iterative process to improve these models. And you cannot go in a more discrete process or water flow process to build these things where you might have a surprise in the end that you probably couldn't de-risk. So iterative process is very, very important one. Apart from in the model development piece, the planning and execution across many teams becomes very, very critical component to get the overall product ready by a certain time that you put your deadline for yourself. And as I said, this requires like building AI products requires like multidisciplinary teams and people to come together to build the ML models, software on top of it. And then you are collecting a lot of feedback from pathologists and trying to test for different scenarios and so on. So the orchestration of all the movement of this work across teams becomes very, very critical. Clear communication, cross-team alignment, and helping teams to surface blockers and challenges very early on, and removing those road blockers, thinking ahead, and would help them to see through into the future and be on plan. That becomes very critical for the launches. So those are some of the technical things as well as like non-technical things that teams can focus on in making sure that they're on time and they're able to surface a lot of unknowns and risks early on so that they can focus on those problems to make sure the launch is successful.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of different sort of factors that you've got to now put together to sort of ensure that that it does go successful, I guess. And so your career trajectory at PathAI is actually quite remarkable. Evolving from an individual contributor to leading a department of 60 people in the machine learning team. What would you say were some like pivotal moments or lessons learned during this journey?
Yeah, first of all, I'm extremely grateful to PathAI leadership for a lot of these growth opportunities over the last 7 years, right? I
Absolutely.
started as like very junior engineer. This was like the first job for me, and company was very small. And we were able to grow the business as well as the opportunities for so many people in the team has opened up to grow themselves and so on. So for me, critically, like developing like a growth mindset, ability to receive feedback from different types of stakeholders and adapt to that feedback at every change has been immensely helpful for me. That you are trying to take a next stab at like a higher level problem, and you may have to approach that problem very differently than before. So that mindset shift at every stage of that change has been very helpful. And while you are doing that, you have to rely on a lot of your team and cross-functional team members and so on. As an individual, you can, again, go only so far. So it's all about the teamwork, embracing the teamwork, empowering team members, and collaborating with other stakeholders, building solid relationships with key people, and then taking some of those challenges, taking those risks, and always looking for improvement in yourself as well as for the team, that what you can do better as a team and push yourself and pushing the boundaries for what company can do has been some of those lessons to take those risks and have a growth mindset and keep learning, pushing for new opportunities has been few key things or moments that helped in my journey to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And as one of the earliest employees at PathAI, could you reflect on the company's growth from its early stages to now employing over 300 individuals?
Yeah, it's a long story. We have come a long way in last 18
Absolutely.
years.
Oh God, yeah, massively so.
Yeah. And we have become like leading AI company in the space. Like we are tackling like big challenges. We are pushing for adoption of this new technology to transform like patient care and assisting pathologists in diagnosis and treatment. And so we have improved our technical stack over the years significantly. There were many things when we started to solve this problem that didn't exist that we had to jump in and go and solve them for ourselves and for the field. And we have done that over the years to be able to build ourselves and push the field forward. And along with that, we have grown a lot more mature in the organization and become well-rounded in how to build good business with great impact, especially given we are in healthcare space. And we have been through many ups and downs over the years in different types of challenges we are facing, whether it's technical ones, whether it's business ones, and other things. However, we persevered through in taking those challenges and trying to figure out one or other solution and iteratively pushing that forward, able to get there. So it has been a journey of ups and downs in terms of like understanding different challenges, facing those things, and resolving them with a teamwork and dedication to push them forward. And we have been growing equally well in terms of our ability to push and solve those challenges.
Yeah, yeah. And what would you say motivates you personally in your work at PathAI? Like, what do you hope to achieve in the future with the company's endeavors in AI-driven healthcare solutions?
Yeah, even the reason for me to join PathAI at such an early time was I was very passionate and interested in the blend of two areas, especially with the AI and the healthcare. It's a very exciting space to be in,
Yeah.
and you can have a lot of real impact with the where the tremendously rapidly moving AI field and AI technology. So that's been one of the exciting parts, and the scale and complexity of the non-technical problems as well are very important to understand in healthcare. Uh, as the technical part is equally important, you need to understand the non-technical aspects of different stakeholders and what they care about, and ability to design a solution that could fit all of these stakeholders is very important. And that also excites me in terms of like solving that a problem that is multidimensional, and bringing technology forward makes me most excited about like working in PathAI and driving that space. And the question that you asked about like, okay, what are we looking to do in the future? For that, in terms of if you take a step back and look at last many years, the AI field has been evolving very rapidly. And the way it is PathAI or anyone in the space, we're building custom models for individual tasks, individual applications. We used to get custom data set for a particular task and then ground truth for that and train a particular model for that and deploy that particular model. So we had to build so many models like that. And right now, what we have been seeing is there is new approach, which is called a self-supervised learning, where you can feed massive amounts of unlabeled data to the model so that it can learn about what presence in these images, that you can apply it for many tasks at the same time with a easy setup and process. So where we are headed is like developing our foundation models in pathology, and this single model that's trained on this unlabeled data can help you to adapt to various tasks and applications. And this is immensely powerful because it can help us move very fast in the space and build these different applications very efficiently so that you can serve to the patients at a cheaper cost and much sooner than before we have ever thought. So that's the area we are moving forward in doubling down on building these foundation models that can help a lot more patients and transform how their care has been received.
Yeah. It sounds like PathAI are making some huge strides in like the health tech side of things. It's really impressive, actually. Like listening to you to talk to me about it. There is clearly a long way to go, but it sounds like that you guys are definitely making some huge advancements, which is good to see. It's good to see that obviously AI is being used for good things that can sort of change the world. Which yeah, it's very impressive. And finally, last but not least, the question I wanted to finish on is some advice from yourself. What advice would you give to aspiring machine learning engineers or individuals interested in pursuing a career at the intersection of AI and healthcare?
Yeah, it's a loaded question in terms of a lot of stuff that people can do.
Absolutely.
And my few suggestions would be from the AI side, gain strong foundation in the basics. And AI field is moving very rapidly, very fast, and new techniques and ideas are coming at rapid pace. So to be able to be on top of those, able to understand them very well and apply them, having strong foundation in machine learning basics helps one a lot. That is one. Another piece is what I mentioned before that helped me a lot personally was having that growth mindset and keep learning of new skills and new ideas, new techniques. So that also helps you a lot to mold yourself to learn new things and solve those things, both technically and non-technically. And also being in healthcare space, remember, it's not always about the next big technology or cool technology. It's about the impact that technology has to make on patients' lives and improve the treatment and diagnosis. So there you need to understand the problems in the healthcare space well and apply the right technology there to able to solve, and adapting the technology and modifying the technology to those problems that are unique to healthcare are key to uh, uh, do that. So that is another area that I would tell people to focus on in terms of understanding the problem a lot better in the space so that you can find the right um, technology or technique to solve that. And being in AI health for healthcare sometimes can feel challenging because there are so many problems that you need to solve. It's not just building up just the greatest model ever. You need to get it through regulatory process, and you need to make sure it has utility for different types of patients and it is equally work across different demographics and so on. So there are a lot of challenges and hurdles to or get to a success. So one has to be a lot more patient and persistent in trying to push through those challenges.
Yeah.
And committing to those goals and continue to learn and be open to new opportunities is another suggestion I would share, because you never know what those opportunities might bring for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's some really good advice. But that is unfortunately the end of today's podcast. Thank you for sharing all of this information, and yeah, it's been really, really interesting hearing about everything that PathAI do. I'm going to look forward to seeing any new advancements coming from you guys. I'm going to keep an eye out for those. So I wish you and PathAI all the best in your future endeavors. I'm looking forward to seeing any new things that come out of it. And yeah, I'm really pleased that you came onto the podcast today. So thank you very much, Harsha. It's been an absolute pleasure hosting you on Visions Venture.
Thanks a lot. Super excited to be on your podcast and looking forward to more of your series.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Vision to Venture. If you're listening, make sure to give us a 5-star review. And if you're watching, like and subscribe to listen to more inspiring stories from leaders in the tech space.